Hello, welcome to the channel. This is part of a 5 video series where I'm going to be going over the pathway to the 2026 T20 World Cup, so make sure to check out the other videos linked below. Alright, let's get right into it. So in this video, we're going to be looking at the general path to the 2026 World Cup. So let's get right into how each of these teams will qualify. Now, there's a few different ways. Right, let's get right into it. We're going to be looking at the general path of the 2026 World Cup in this video. And the 2026 World Cup is following the similar format to the 2024 World Cup, where it's 20 teams playing in total for 4 groups of 5. These are then followed by the Super 8, then the semifinals, and then the finals. Now, let's get right into how each of these 20 teams are going to qualify. There's a few different ways each team can qualify, but it really does come down to two main ways: automatic qualification and qualification through tournaments. Let's take a look at automatic qualification first. Out of 20 teams, 12 are going to be falling under this category, and they make it to the World Cup on their own. And luckily for us, because it's on their own, they don't have to play 30 tournaments. We already know what these 12 teams are going to be. The first two teams are India and Sri Lanka as they are hosts of the 2026 T20 World Cup, and the next teams to qualify are the top 7 teams in the 2024 T20 World Cup, basically the Super 8, excluding India and Sri Lanka because they already qualify from hosting. These teams from the Super 8 are South Africa, who were last year's finalists, England and Afghanistan, who were the semi-finalists from last year that did not make it all the way, Australia and Bangladesh from Group 1 of the Super 8, and West Indies and the USA from Group 2 of the Super 8. All these teams will be continued to feature in the next World Cup, which is massive, especially for teams like the USA, because they don't have to fight in the American qualifiers, something we'll be talking about later in the video. Now, finally, we have 3 teams that qualify from the ICC T20 team rankings. The team rankings are decided by a formula, and the teams that qualify from this are Ireland, New Zealand, and Pakistan. Similar to the USA, Ireland will not have to be fighting in the European qualifiers, so this is massive for them as they have a guaranteed shot to the 2026 World Cup. Now, now that we have our 12 teams that qualify automatically, let's take a look at the remaining 8 that have to make it through tournaments. The rest of the countries have been split up into 4 different regions: Africa, the Americas, Asia and Eastern Pacific, and finally Europe. Each of these regions are going to have a qualifying tournament in late 2025 where teams are going to have to battle it out to decide who's going to be advancing to the 2026 T20 World Cup. Now, for the American qualifiers, only one team is going to be making it out, most likely Canada because the USA has already qualified. So, yeah, that's most likely they will be making it. Out of Africa, 2 teams are going to be making it, and it will most likely be Zimbabwe and Namibia. However, Uganda does have the ability to pull another upset and make it to the World Cup like they did in 2024, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Out of the European qualifiers, we're going to be seeing 2 more teams emerge, one of which is most likely going to be the Netherlands, barring any major upsets, and 1 team out of Scotland or Italy. And finally, the Asian qualifiers are going to be seeing 3 teams make their way to the World Cup, and I strongly believe that these teams will most likely be Oman, Nepal, and the UAE. Oman and Nepal obviously played in the 2024 T20 World Cup, unable to make it to the Super 8, and UAE has played in previous T20 World Cups. And these are the strongest teams in the region. However, I wouldn't be surprised to see a team like Papua New Guinea making a run to the World Cup as they did in 2024. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And make sure you watch the other videos as a part of the series because we'll be looking at each of these qualifiers further in depth and how and all the teams participating in them and how all those teams got there. Thank you.